strong genre based on the unique set of qualities that it had. Energy, passion, authentic to the culture, unique in that sort of way. And obviously instrumentally, the sound was very unique as well. It didn't sound like anything else. When you take away pirate radio, when you take away raves, you're left with essentially the same format as hip-hop and rap. And hip-hop and rap is a huge worldwide thing. And the number of artists that you see now that are doing very, very well in rap music that started out making grime is incredibly high.
You think it's higher than the grime artists?
No, I'm saying the number of artists that are doing well in hip-hop now that actually started out making grime music when they were younger and stopped and started making hip-hop, there's a lot of them. You know what I mean? Big eyes. You know? Krypton Conan used to be in a crew called Gypset from Gypsy Hill. Gigs used to be an MC called Giggler. He used to do grime. There's a fair few. You know, Fecky used to be called Effector. He was a grime MC. But you know, people change and they have different interests and they want to do other things. Other MCs have always done hip hop. You know, from when they started, like guys like Mike Righteous has always been a hip hop MC. So there's a bit of both there, but it shows that at some point people didn't want to do grime anymore. That's either because they felt like there wasn't going to be anything in it for them, they felt like they weren't getting anywhere, or maybe they just got more excited by hip hop than grime. And all those things are fair enough, because when you look at what makes grime exciting, spitting live on sets, spitting on pirate radio, going to the raves and getting reloads in the rave, all of those things got taken away from us because we weren't allowed to put events on anymore. Pirate stations started to get closed, and new ones weren't popping up to fill their place, and it became very difficult. And as the platforms for grime became basically the same as the platforms for hip hop, and hip hop's a large world music, grime sort of lost a lot of its identity. Guys started spitting over trappy sounding tunes, flat sounding tunes with no energy, and essentially you're just standing to a camera like I'm doing right now and delivering my lyrics to you. It's no different essentially to how a rap man would do. Do you know what I mean? So it blurred the lines. I've seen people say that Giggs makes grime music because they don't understand what grime music is. They think grime music is just authentic street music from the UK. Because sonically they don't know what it is anymore because it's lost a lot of those things that set it apart. But I sort of, it's not a simple problem. Like I'm trying to squeeze it all down into a couple of sentences, but like grime in London, London's a very strange place musically. There's a new thing that's called every year. Like if I asked the sort of people you see in house raves now, 4 years ago, if they like deep and soulful house, the sort of looks I'd be getting would be ridiculous. But now they're happy to, listen to, all kinds of shuffly, whatever. Obviously that's older. Even then, look at that. Like shuffling, cutting shapes was last year. We're past that now, and we have a problem with that in London. Like we want to find a new thing all the time. And grime's been around for what, 10 years at least, 11, 12 years. Power came out in 2004. Mad old. So it's not new and exciting anymore. But it's obviously a part of the DNA. Like loads of people growing up with grime.
But do you think that like grime would be exciting if like some of the new guys, because I feel like the new guys, like you said, there isn't so much of that authentic grime sound. Like, and if the new guys came up with their own grime sound, which was authentic, kind of similar to how Wiley did it back in the day, and all of these artists had their own. Like, look at the production where Jammer had. If you heard a Jammer beat, you knew it was a Jammer beat. If you heard a Da Vinci beat, you knew it was Da Vinci. If you heard a Wiley beat, But really and truly, like the new producers and that, the newer producers, the newer artists, there isn't nothing that really says, oh, that guy sounds like nothing I've ever heard before.
I would disagree, because Rude Kid makes tunes that don't sound like anybody else. I can spot a Predator beat as soon as I hear it. I can spot a FaZe Miyake beat as soon as I hear it. Teddy sounds very distinctive as well. There are producers that all have their own sounds, and there's obviously other guys that are coming through as well. But they're sort of like the main four most obvious within the MC-led grime culture. The real problem is, where the hell are you gonna hear this stuff? Because when Wiley was making mad experimental music and he made a big hit record, you would scroll through the dial on your FM radio and you'd hear Eskimo at any time of the day on at least 2 stations. 6 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 11 o'clock at night, you'd hear Eskimo on a radio. Where are you going to hear it now? On a YouTube video? Who wants to listen to an instrumental beat on a YouTube video? MCs that want to write to the beat, maybe. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, people want to consume performances, and it's strange because the most exciting part about grime is the performance. But the formats that we're trying to box it into, like these 5-minute YouTube things, are not suited to grime. They're like low energy. It's all about just getting your bars out, calm, clear,
and content,
multis, and that's great. That's a beautiful skill, you know, to be able to rhyme with multis and, you know, great meaning and content in your lyrics at 140 BPM double time is very difficult to do, and not be chatting
crap,
a load of nonsense.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's very difficult to do. So guys that can do that, I've got great respect for, but that's one aspect of grime. The aspect of grime that everyone remembers was one-line flows, reloads, and like big, huge, massive tunes coming in and everyone jumping up, mad hype. That was the foundation of grime, and it became limited into what it could be, you know. And then you have people that are really nostalgic for grime, and then they think, oh, it has to be 8-bar, it has to be jump up, that's all it can be. Other people that, I'm not interested in that, I want to be this content guy, and it became very fractured. It wasn't really together, because there's nowhere for it to be together anymore.
Do you feel like
2 hours a week on the radio on my show, you know, a part of Cameo's garage show on Extra, 20 minutes of Mr. Jam's show, a handful of shows on Rinse FM. Every now and then when Charlie Sloth does a fire in a booth with a grime artist, that's not remotely as much as there used to be back in the day, where I'd struggle to name all the pirate stations just in one ends, let alone the whole of London.
Do you feel like grime's almost kind of gone similar to how jungle was in the 90s, almost like when grime was starting to come through, and it pushed jungle away, kind of thing, and garage away?
No, because there's not one thing that sort of pushed it away. Like, there's nothing that's come out really since grime that has had the same effect that grime's had. Nothing. Do you know what I mean? There's not, even rap, as popular as rap is, you get what, 2 guys signed a year? Maybe, if that get like proper deals and actually go on to actually release music. Grime guys are getting signed all the time, you know. Guys like Tinchy, Dizzy coming out, flinging out albums and selling 1 million singles. It was crazy, crazy. You haven't really seen that since. Because we have such a fast turnover now, especially with the internet. People get bored of things real quick. Like, people jump on a sound, they rinse that sound into the floor, everything sounds just like that, and then they move on. And the cool thing was grime never sounded like one thing. Like, yeah, Wiley had this Esky sound, that was cool, but at the same time you had Johnny Cash, you had Musical Mob making like them Pulse X type of tunes, you had Eastwood making mad stuff, you had Da Vinci, you had Terror Danger, then you had Skepta and JME, all these different types of producers, and they all sounded different. And grime never was this, grime sounds like this. It never had that, so it never, I think it sort of held it back as well, to be honest with you, because when Bassline came through, for example, up north, Bassline had a sound. You knew what the sound was, and they signed everything that sounded like that, pushed it out into the mainstream, yeah, it did quite well. Same with dubstep. You know, dubstep reached a point where the sound narrowed, and you had a lot of tunes that sounded very, very similar to each other.
But I feel like them kind of genres, like the two that you just named there, like bassline.
Yeah.
Up in Midlands now, bassline seems to be dead now. I seem like by the way,
by comparison, yeah.
the way how it was anyway, like a few years back. But like grime is like such a weird genre where it seems like it's dead, but it's not dead.
It won't die. It's like it won't die because it's representative of a culture, not a sound. Yeah.
So it's kind
Bassline's
of
a sound. Dubstep, funky house, grime, and bassline are like the four children of garage house.